Alright, the Lynx had complete control of this game in the first, and it all started defensively, because their stops were generating pace from offensively, so that got the entire team into a rhythm early. Courtney Williams was getting to her spots off quick drags, Fee was getting to her right shoulder fade on the block, and Alana Smith was either running the floor in transition or stretching the floor in the half court, so they had an ideal start. But that all went downhill quick once the second started. Besides Alana continuing to play her game, and even Jessica Shepard showing off her footwork inside, there was no real production from the rest of the team, because between Courtney and Fee, those two were not efficient as the primary rock handlers, so their entire offense just fell apart. Whenever Courtney did get to her spots, she either missed a short jumper or couldn't finish at the rim, and whenever Fee got a post dump, she couldn't make her patented shot, and it wasn't just about the misses, because the turnovers were even worse. Whenever one of them got pressed on the rock, they were getting it deflected trying to pass out, traveling, or just making a bad pass. And there were a lot of instances of one of them committing an offensive foul trying to flow into a quick DHO, because they were never set, so all those turnovers just compounded throughout. When the rock is in their hands as much as it is, it's on them to either make shots, create shots, or make the right decisions. And there were too many possessions when one of them didn't, so the team could never establish that same rhythm from earlier on the night. Courtney and Fee couldn't even score until the last couple minutes, so those were basically empty buckets, because the game was way over by then, and the two finished the night committing more turnovers than making shots throughout. But a lot of their struggles did stem from the Fever's defense, and they basically did the same thing they were doing to the Wings. Except this was against the best offensive team in the league, not a bottom feeder, so this defensive showing was even more impressive, because it's not easy to stagnate the Lynx's offense at all. They're a team that plays side to side, so if the initial action isn't there on the first side, they move the rock to the second side to keep that flow, and all of their quick actions just kept being taken away because of the Fever's physicality, pressure, denial, and consistent coverages. The Fever's bigs were always making the low rotation, showing off screens, or at least hedging by extending their arms to deter the Lynx players from turning the corner. Then their guards were always body to body, so they were pressing up on the rock or hard denying off it. And that pursuit was really how they were able to draw the offensive fouls they did, because it never stopped throughout. Their defense was the main reason for them taking control of the game in the second, then them maintaining that until the end, because those stops kept generating pace for their offense. So they established a rhythm, and it was obvious their defense was the main catalyst to their offense. They seemed to get more energized with every stop, and the opposite seemed to be happening to the Lynx, because their lack of offense was bleeding over to their defense, so they were getting worse on that end as the game went on. They kept giving up backdoors, and they could not contain the rock at all. So they kept letting players get to their spots, or kept giving up straight line drives, because there was no first line, and there was no help on the second line. There was just a disconnect, and they never matched the Fever's physicality, so it really showed from top to bottom, especially from Natasha Howard, because she was either frying their bigs for being too slow, or frying their smalls for being too little. Every time the Fever needed a bailout, she would just get downhill. And that was on top of her having to guard Fee on ones, because after Fee made a couple kickouts against the doubles early, they had the others stay at home, so she was really doing a lot on both ends. But it was the others that secured the win in the fourth, because they were either running an SNR or just finding Aaliyah on a post dump, and even Soph and Lexi continued to make their open looks from deep on the sprays. The only one that couldn't consistently make her shots was Kels, and she was getting clean looks against Fee's drop once she came off a screen, so the scoreline could have been worse than it was. But their offense doesn't really matter as much as their defense, because if they can continue playing at this level on that end of the floor, that will be the difference between them being just a good team and a championship team. Just watch the tape.